welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and we have the General who will be joining us shortly, but also we have, without the sombrero on his head, but I like that blazer. Hey, Doc Polite, how you doing this evening, brother?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
You all right, man? How was your weekend?
It was good. I'm about ready to get these muscadines going.
You
So
about ready to do what?
get my muscadine on.
Man, you better go ahead and go. You say muscles,
Muscadines.
muscadine. What is,
Yeah.
come on, talk to me.
Scuppernons. You never had those?
No, no, no. What?
Muscadines or scuppernong or bullets is a Florida grown grape. They grow wild.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and my grandmother on her farm up in North Florida, she used to have, oh man, so many of them. And I grew up on them, so I planted some
So
in
do
my
you know how to cook
backyard.
them?
You don't cook them; you eat them. They're grapes.
Oh,
You,
oh,
you
so,
could, I
oh,
know how to
oh,
make
oh,
wine.
okay.
I know how to
Okay,
make
okay.
the wine out of them.
Well, okay, okay, I'm with you now. I guess, hey, is this something that I can go to Publix or Winn Dixie and get?
Well, they for some reason it seems like people don't sell them anymore. So that's one reason I'm growing them. But I got a whole grapevine out there behind the house in my backyard that I started growing about 3 years ago. So this will be my first bumper crop, and I probably got right now. I probably got about 2 or 3 thousand on there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
So
well, I guess the grapes that I partake in have been refined to some degree. Hey, and that's the result of what they call that fine wine.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, Doc, man, what has been going on over the past weekend? I mean, anything that has caught your attention per se?
Um, the fact that Trump running mate may get changed is kind of intriguing. That's been the kind of
Wait,
political.
let me ask this question of you, Doc. Where did
Mhm.
you get that from? Because and not that you're the
Well,
first person that said that.
yeah, because all of the number one, a lot of the operatives on the Republican side are saying that uh, his negatives are going to impact Trump um, long term, and they don't see him as qualified. This is what their people are saying, and allegedly his aides have been saying that all along. They didn't want him to pick him, so he was not. He was a favorite of Trump, but in Trump's circle and staffing, they didn't care for this guy.
Hey, so Doc, let me ask you this. Let me
Hmm.
ask you this. And we've had this conversation before. The general has partaken in this conversation. Hey, man, I got to tell you, the energy level of Republican Party was, on 100, uh, leading into the convention. What do you think that energy level? Do you think it's still at that level? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think it diminished somewhat, not for the core base. I think I think a lot of people didn't expect him to pick Vance, and then Mike Pence came out over the weekend and said he will absolutely not endorse Donald Trump.
But you know, Doc,
So
to be fair, because you and I,
yeah,
along with the general, we've this is not per se our first rodeo.
yeah,
We've watched, we've commented, we've even anticipated and talked about what we thought was going to happen in different races. So when I say the energy level, it's fair to say no campaign's energy level stays at 100 throughout the campaign, especially with campaigns starting earlier and earlier, like they're starting. So they're going to fluctuate.
and that's true. And one of the things, let me tell you the power of Donald Trump, because I've been watching this guy. What Trump is able to do is get people to look at the things that Democrats don't want them to look at. And in that, what I mean is that Trump will actually say that the crazy parts out loud, not not in a bad way, but he will tell them what they need to hear.
But Doc, come on, wait, hold up, Doc.
Wait,
No,
he,
no,
no.
no.
Listen,
Come on now,
let me
Doc.
finish.
Okay, go ahead,
Can I
go
finish
ahead.
my thought? Okay. Example. He told the evangelicals and the Christians this weekend they need to vote because they won't have to worry about the problem. Now the Democrats tried to take that and twist it, but what he literally mean is that he was going to take care of those issues that were central to them in his next term, and after that they won't have to worry about working on it. He's not saying they won't ever have to vote, and so I understand that because he's trying to address things that they see at their level, the average voter does, that see at their level, that they see as problematic. The border is primary. The economy is primary, and he's talking to them about the issues straight up. He's telling you, hey, the rich have screwed you over. I'm going to fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. The Democrats are telling you, well, we're working on this, but they can't articulate their message. How?
Okay.
How?
Okay. And Doc, man, I love when you and I had these conversations because, and you're not wrong, but I guess I'm gonna take it one step further. Doc, we all know, and I believe, man, we do have individuals in elected office, man, that mean us some good. I do believe that genuinely. But Doc, hasn't it been a pattern that a lot of times they tell us what they think we want to hear?
Well, I think that's the problem, especially on the Democratic side. The Democrats, we have so many factions in our camp that we are rendered ineffective because everybody's got their own personal agenda. There's no cohesive message. We have really, in a subtle way, been the party of fear tactics for a long time, and people don't see it that way.
Okay, so you saying you've been in the party of fear tactics?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm saying Democrats have long fed the idea that blacks are going to suffer if we don't vote for them. But
And I agree with you. I agree with you. And Doc, black folk have continued to fall for it time and time again.
And I said that last week, banana in the tailpipe. So we got the habit of looking and accepting the banana in the tailpipe. And that's what's frustrating black males, because we're seeing the hypocrisy. Everybody gets to bring their grievance to the Democrat and jump ahead of the issues that are impacting black communities.
The only way that they're allowed to do that, Doc, is because black folk allow their agenda to be sidebarred, if you would. I mean, we've had this conversation time and time again, and guess what? Here's one of the things that really impressed me right now, and it impresses me that the Democratic Party is, for once, looking at black men and saying, we want you. But the only reason why they're doing that right now, Doc, is because whether you believe the polling or not.
Hey, that's like the prom queen. That's like the prom queen. Prom queen don't pay you no mind till you get with
You're right.
with Keisha.
You're right.
Then all of a sudden, I had my eye on you the whole time. Come on over. You can escort me to the prom and so it's a possessive. They're a possessive girlfriend. They don't want anybody else showing us the potential of dating outside of their circle. No, we belong to them. See that, and that's ownership. That's the problem. So
but Doc, or black men or black folk going to demand that? I mean, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm glad the general has popped in. But
yeah,
do you
Trouble
think
done came in.
black folk are going to demand their worth now, as it relates to being represented by a party who, in my opinion, has not put a whole lot of merit?
No, we can't demand anything. We ain't got a message.
You ain't got a message. Hey, welcome, General. Thank you for joining us, brother. I know you out there winning cases. left and right. For those of you who are joining the show, the general has blessed us with his presence. Hey, what's happening, Brother Jackson?
Uh-oh.
What y'all on?
Huh?
What y'all on tonight? What y'all talking
Well,
We
we're
talking
having a conversation about the Democratic Party and the fact that, you know, now they're recognizing African American men, and the question is why?
Let me tell you something. Don't get it twisted, Brother Love. You said now they're recognizing African American men. No, now they're using African American men. That's the more proper way of saying it. Up until this time, African widely ignored by the Democratic Party. Up until this point in time, no one has thought to come to us and ask us what our thoughts were with regards to candidates and things of that nature. Now all of a sudden, when Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party feels that they have to get X amount of votes in order to support this candidate, which I hope we get a chance to talk about. Now all of a sudden, black men are important. This is something that I think that as a black male and as a black male Democrat, we all need to be careful of because this is nothing more than a ruse. And I hate to say it that way, but that's how I feel. I feel like I'm being used
You
at
feel
this
like
point.
hey, you know
well,
what?
that that's what I said. I
Bru-
said it's akin to the prom queen now wanting to date you because she saw you talking to Keisha, and
eh,
that's
eh,
literally
Well,
that's
not in
literally
this
what.
case, not even talking to Keisha, but this in this case because the Keisha in this case would be the Republican Party who still ain't talking to us. Let's
and
Well,
I'll
I ain't
continue
gonna
to
ain't
say,
gonna
Brother
mince
Jackson,
words
that
tonight.
we
hey,
need to
she
we need
she
to do a better
flirt.
job of letting people know that that tent is large enough for everybody. But Brother Jackson,
Well,
here's what
well, listen.
here's what
Now,
I wrote out with. Here's what I wrote out. The only reason why the Democratic Party is highlighting uh, black men for Harris and things of that nature is because whether you believe the polling or not, when the polls continue to come out to say 20% of African American men are supporting the Republican Party now, that's concerning to the Democratic Party.
I mean, it should be concerning, but is that number African American men or African Americans? It's not just African American men that are moving. I'm not going to say moving towards the Republican Party, but they're moving away from the Democratic Party.
Correct,
And,
correct.
and, and what should be even scarier to the Democratic Party is that a lot of African American voters aren't going for the rules, and they may not turn up into the polls for President Trump or former President Trump, but they most certainly are not going to show up to the polls for the Democratic nominee. Because listen, how in the world? Tell me this: how many votes did Kamala Harris garner in this primary election to get the nod to be the nominee? How many votes?
I don't know the answer to the question, but I do know, General, that she was one of the first to bow out of the presidential race.
Well, you do know the answer. Zero.
Zero. Okay, okay.
Zero.
well,
She
you
didn't get
see
a
that
single. She didn't get a single primary vote, and now she is the Democrat. Once again, the Democrats are telling us who we have to vote for, and not only that, they're telling us if we don't support this person, that we're not black, which is offensive in and of itself.
well, this is the same thing that happened with Biden, and why we ended up with Biden because they fixed the race. They do this every time. It's that whole we selected you. We want this is the candidate we want, not the candidate the people, the Democratic Party itself wants, the voters want, but the anointed. They take turns.
Yeah. Well,
It,
let me
it,
start out and go down my punch, if you would, Liz, and General and Doc. Man, either one of you jump in here. But this past week, supposedly presidential candidate Harris raised approximately $200 million in the first week with 170,000 volunteers. So, Brother Jackson, I see that big smile on your on your face. What's your thoughts about that?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Money is raised in campaigns has always troubled me. And listen, as a former candidate that had to go out and raise money and things like that, I always felt guilty doing it. But I'm gonna say this: if $200 million have come into Kamala Harris in a single week, that's $200 million. If this keeps up at that rate, she'll have $800 million in 4 weeks, $1.6 billion in a month, and by the time the campaign rolls around, it should be somewhere in the $2.4 billion range. Why is it that $2 billion can be raised for a candidate, but the African American community still suffers? That is the
Woo!
part that baffles me.
Woo! Hey, I don't know if we got a
Well,
sound effect for that, Doc, but I mean that the general came in hot on that one, man.
hey, listen, we got to understand that the system as it stands has disadvantages and advantages built in. It's the system.
Yeah.
It's the system. And so we are getting what it was designed to do. We
Hey,
we have we have a permanent, go ahead. Go ahead.
Doc, and this ties in to the general. He asked where were we at in this conversation, and I'm gonna thrust him into the midst when we talk about uh, vice presidential ratings for candidate Harris. When we also talk about issues such as border control and her having been the border control czar, what does that amount to? Fast forward to here and now. Has anything taken place with the border control?
Listen, don't take me down that road just yet, brother. Love me, Dr. Blake, because I want to hang on this for just 1 second.
Okay.
Because in addition to the $200 million that was reportedly raised for the Harris campaign, in conjunction with that, 170,000 volunteers have committed to her campaign in a single week alone. Where are those individuals when our black children in these underserved communities are looking for mentors? I mean, listen, everybody wants to have a seat at the table. Everybody wants to say, oh, I'm friends with Kamala Harris. Oh, I was on a phone call with Kamala Harris. Or, oh, I was on the. Well, how is that helping the African American communities? It's not helping at all. This $200 million, and I'm supposing that a portion of that actually comes from African Americans too. Why are they not putting that money back into the community when they're talking about we don't have financial institutions to do X, Y, Z, but you can raise $200 million in a week for a presidential candidate who is weak at best? This it troubles me, and the Democratic Party continues to baffle me. African American voters continue to baffle me because time and time again we fall into this rut of, oh, we got to get behind this person because it's going to be the first black president, and the black community suffers. Oh, we got to get behind this person because it's going to be Supreme Court justice, and the black community suffers. Oh, we have to get behind this person because they're going to be the first black this, and the black community suffers. When are we going to stop allowing the Democratic Party to tell us what's important to us and we realize what's important for ourselves?
Hey, hey Doc, I know his title is Attorney Jackson, but he preaching right now.
Well, I understand where he's coming from. I absolutely do because I agree with much of it. But I have to say, one of the things I'm starting to step back, and y'all know I was out there in the streets doing what I could do for a community, and I stepped back. And I stepped back because I began to see and document with my interactions that I was not making the impact I wanted because some of a significant portion of the people did not want to learn to do something different. And so you have to respect people's choices. And one of the things that we have to do instead of just blaming the elected officials is also blame the people in the community because they're not carrying their load at all. Rod, and I'm going to tell you, Brother Jackson, I don't know if Brother Love told you this, but he had an individual that just ran his name over like a Mack truck this week. And the problem is that the person that ran his name over, it was nothing like they said. They were the one that was the problem. And see, that's part of it. When we are given opportunities, we often have people in the community who say that they are leaders who don't want to follow the criteria for getting that help. Nothing is free. You're going to have to do some things, to change, and I tell people, if your solution worked, your situation would be better and you wouldn't ask me to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stop trying to make me accept your situation. It didn't work for you. Why would I go in and try to do the same thing?
Right.
So when we're going into those communities and stuff and we bring a different approach, we are often met with resistance because that ain't the way that it's supposed to go. Well, how it's supposed to go? Well, last time we did this. Well, okay, you still got the problem, right? So why are we going to go back to the same solution that didn't work?
And Doc, I feel where you're coming from, and Brother Jackson, you should be in the Olympics right now, throwing that spear because you hit the
Hey,
bull.
hold on, wait. I don't know how I feel about a Republican calling me a spear chucker.
I'm
Hey,
glad
hey,
you
Doc.
said it because
Hey,
that's
hey,
a
you mean a javelin? You
The
talking about a
javelin,
javelin?
javelin,
javelin.
javelin. Hey, Doc, y'all
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
You
about.
can't say
Hey,
spear
hey,
chucker now.
hey, you know what I'm talking about. But you know what, Brother Jackson, I say this and I say this with nothing but love because you said it without any hesitation, and you're absolutely right. Man, we've heard the same story over and over again, and the black community at the end of the day gets zero.
Yeah.
But when you talk about fear and things of that nature, man, people say if this happens, man, we're gonna have more black folk going to jail. We're gonna have black folk being shot in the streets. Communities are gonna. Hey, we've seen individuals that look like us because if we want to be honest, a lot of the energy that's being catapulted upon folk is to say, look at her. Let's support her just based on her being a black person. Man, come on, show me results.
You know, and we talked about this last week, I believe. I mean, just think about how we would, hey, the only reason I'm voting for this person is because they're white. We wouldn't like it. That should not be the defining criteria or even a part of the criteria when you're trying to find the right person for the community. But listen, in all fairness, Brother Love, and you started going down this, in all fairness, let's look at the record of the Biden-Harris administration, all right? When we talk about what's been taking place over the past 3.5 years, are your lives in the African-American community, since we're the ones that's being targeted to go out and support this person, are our lives any better now that a Biden Harris administration has been in place in 3 years? Now, when you answer that question, I want people to look at the gas prices. Gas prices are at near record highs and have been for approximately 2 years or since the time period that Biden Harris administration has been in place. If you go into your grocery store, your local grocery store, food prices are out of control. When you look at mortgage rates are out of control. Violence across this country are out of control. But here's the kicker, though, Brother Love. They tell us if you elect us, we're going to fix these problems that somebody else started. But you've had 3 years to fix these problems, and nothing has changed.
Well, they're not now. They're not even talking about issues like that. They're simply saying I'm better than them. Both sides are doing this. Nobody has. Who have you heard in the last 90 days who specifically addressed policy?
You're right, Doc.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
Listen,
Doc, pull that
yeah, I
mic
can't
closer
argue.
to
Yeah,
you too.
I can't argue with you on that.
nobody
Yeah.
is talking about policy. They're always talking about you can't elect them because they're the boogeyman.
Hey, Doc, pull that mic closer to you. You're getting farther and further away from it.
Yeah, and everybody's saying the other side is the boogeyman. So we've become a nation of fear tactics, and that's all it is to our politics right now. When are we going to get back to solving the problems for the American people?
Well,
And
I'm
it's
gonna tell you this. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this, Doc, and Brother Love, I'm gonna tell you this again, and I'm gonna echo this from last week. I think that the Republican Party is missing a tremendous opportunity
You're
right now.
right. I agree.
I think that African American male voters in particular are looking for a place where that they can call home. All right. And I think that the Democrat Party is continuing to fail African American males. And listen, I understand that there are, I was in church and I'm not getting all right. So I understand that there are African American males in the community who feel like things are okay and things are fine. But let's look at the totality of what our community looks like. Let's look at the totality
look like a damn war
given
zone.
broken promises for far too long, and we continue to accept these things and continue to say, put these people in office because they'll make our lives better, and our lives aren't any better as a whole.
Well, and I agree with you. Like I said, the banana in the tailpipe. We
Yeah.
keep falling for the same joke. How long is it going to be funny? We are not addressing as a whole. We're not addressing or having our issues addressed because we don't even know where to start. And you
Yeah.
cannot ask for help if you don't know what the help is that you need. When everything's a problem, you got to start somewhere. This is why I always talk about community triage. Identify what are our most pressing issues. Gun violence. For us, it affects every black community in America. It's the number one thing. is gun violence.
And Doc, you're right, you're right. But I want to put a little bit more context to this because the general he participated in writing a white paper for the Florida legislature, the House and the Senate, some years back as it related to economic development, but more so in the language of community redevelopment agencies. And I truly believe, Doc, I know we're talking about gun violence, we can talk about delinquency, we can talk about arrest, but then we always talk about the fact that one of the true sustained ways to alleviate some of those ills in the community is for you to flourish economically. And so those are some of the other things that I want to hear about. What about resources and money? And Greg, you said it best when we talked about, what was it, a year or so ago?
I remember two of my bestest friends a couple of years ago went over into a community. They brought in developers. They walked around. They invited the community in to meet with these developers. The developers saw that it was an opportunity for that community, and 8 people showed up. Now, why in the hell would I fix your community and you're not even vested in your community? See, we don't understand that. We want somebody to fix our problems, but we're not even willing to put in any sweat equity even, or be inconvenienced to show up for community meetings. So we can't point the finger outside if we're not pointing inside. We have got to understand that. We are not doing for self first. See, if you came over and said, hey, I'm gonna cut your yard, I say, okay, and I heard you sick, I'm gonna cut your yard, right? And you out there cutting my yard, and I have the nerve to come out on my porch with a lawn chair and a big glass of lemonade and sit there and watch you, you're gonna think I done lost you. What would you do? I won't cut your yard again.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but Doc, I can acknowledge our Latino community and family, man, they're doing a tremendous job when it comes down to participating and working with one another and engaging in economic development. When you look at, in particular, Orange County, when you look at their small business or minority business section where you can look at and qualify to participate in government contracting, you look at the percentage of Hispanic Latino companies, they exceed what their expectation is. But if you look at the African American standard, they're far below what their percentage is.
What do those groups have that we don't have? And I know
Say that again.
What do those groups have that we don't have?
Brother Jackson, I'm going to just say this real quickly because I know you can add more into this, but I'm going to say the unity. Doc, I believe.
What's another word that goes with that unity, though? Why do they have that unity?
I mean, you're talking about pride in the community?
They have a culture. They have a culture, a generational culture and customs that they haven't abandoned.
So Doc, elaborate on that culture, Doc.
Well, I'm a child of segregation, and it's funny. I always have these conversations right after I have a conversation, and I had this conversation this morning. I experienced segregation as a little boy. Okay, and I told y'all, Paramore used to have doctors, hotels, and motels, and we have cab stand, lawyers, barbershops, grocery stores, all of that stuff in our community. You could literally walk around the community and no one bothered you as a child. We don't have that anymore. You got to go in many neighborhoods. They got good food there, but you got to get it to go. Because that's just a fact. That's real. That's a real thing. It's places I used to go in Orlando I would not go anymore.
Hey, so Brother Jackson, based on what Doc Polite is saying, man, how do we get our arms around it? How do we fix it, which is not an easy fix?
I mean, I'm gonna take a different perspective and a different view on it. Doc Polite looked at it from the standpoint of what does the Hispanic community have that the Black community doesn't have. I want to point out what the Hispanic community doesn't have that the black community does have.
What's that?
The black community has individuals in our community that want to try to control our vote, that want to be
Yeah,
the ones to
yeah.
say, oh, I can get these people to vote for you, and they don't even think twice about it. You don't have that in any other race than the black community, where people come in and they say, we control your vote because of the color of your skin. That's what they don't have.
Yeah, but
And that is
where
the
did that
more.
come from? Where and y'all always get upset with me when I point to where the source of leadership lies in our community with a certain group who are de facto seen as leadership when in fact they should not be. See, we need people who can fix social issues to be those who address social issues. We keep trying to sing our way and pray our way out of this situation, and we can't do that. We've got to have some boots on the ground. There's nothing wrong. Y'all know I'm a man of faith, absolute man of faith, and I know that all things that I have is through Christ. But I also realize I got to have some skin in the game. It ain't a free ride. I must do for self.
Hey,
And
well, Doc, with that being the case, and I want to kind of put us on a track. We're talking right now about politics. We're talking about a political candidate, and when we talk about getting results, when we talk about being on the right track, when we talk about the black community and how they've continued to suffer after election, what makes this any different? Is my question to both of you. What makes this any different?
what makes it different?
What makes
It's not
this
different.
election any different?
It's not different. We're going to have the same results. We're still going to have high unemployment. We're still going to have poverty after Harris is in office, just like we did after Obama was in office. And we've got to learn how to politic. We don't have any political people
Hey,
anymore.
Doc, on this note, General, when Doc is talking about we got to learn how to politic, do you remember Ice Cube and his entrance into General? Do you see anybody coming to the table saying the same thing to the Harris campaign?
Probably not at this point, because anybody that comes to that campaign and says anything outside of what they want to hear is going to be considered a racist. It's going to be considered to be a sexist. Anytime that someone disagrees with Democrats, they vilify you, as opposed to understanding that we all just have different ways of seeing the world. So I don't think. I mean, listen. I'll take a step back. I mean, Umar Johnson, he's been very vocal. Another guy by the name of Charleston White. These street the street committee of speakers in the community, they've been very vocal about what's taking place, and have been very outspoken about the fact of some things that we're not even really addressing and talking about. And that's the fact that we in the black community are being told that we have to vote for Kamala Harris because she's going to be the next or the first female black president, and Kamala Harris is not black.
I, I
When
find
and when Kamala Harris, when she's faced with black issues and African American issues, and I was just watching something just the other day, and but people have to go and do their own research. Well, when she was asked specifically, "What are you going to do to address reparations for the years of
yeah.
free labor that this country got?" and she said, "Well, I agreed to a study to look at it and see what needs to be done." And she, in the next breath said, "I can't do anything just for black people." But why not? I mean, when you look at the Hispanic community, things have been done just for them. When you look at the Asian community, things have been done. Black
Look
female
at
president saying that something can't be done for black Americans. And that I don't get and I don't understand.
I do.
I mean,
What'd
well,
you say,
listen,
Doc?
I said I
listen.
do. I understand it. I
Hey,
understand it, and
I got.
that's what I'm saying about we've got to learn how to politic. We ain't got no skin in the game. What what can we bring to bear to uh, enact the things that we want enacted? They're not. We're not fluent in our vote. We can't sway anybody with our vote because it's locked up by the Democrats. So what else do we possess? What major industries or sources of income or are economics that we control that we can project as power. We are powerless as a community. And that's a real sad assessment, but it's an honest assessment. We have nothing to leverage.
Yeah,
Literally.
that's 100% true, because as long as we give away our vote or allow other people to give away our vote just because of the color of our skin, we're never going to be taken seriously. And
And
that's
it,
why, that's why when they come to us and they say we need your vote and this is going to change your community, it does not change because
Hey,
they didn't earn our vote. We gave them our vote.
hey,
yeah,
General, we got a comment here from a good friend that I respect, and what they're addressing is they're saying, well, hey, this one individual hasn't said anything about what they would do to solve the issues that are out there. And then what I would say to my good friend, and I'm not going to identify who he's talking about at this point, but I'm going to identify we've had the Democratic Party who will give you plenty of solutions about addressing issues, but how much of those have we gotten results with? Zero.
well, I can tell you now, Democratic policies long term have been disastrous for us. Uh, when we look at the family structure, Democrats were Joe Biden was key and instrumental in the harsh sentencing. Why? Because black officials ran to them back during the crack epidemic and just basically gave them the keys to the community. Say lock them all up. They all are criminals. Instead of seeing what was the economic factor that caused this. Why? Because that generation of black men and women saw an opportunity to make lucrative money. Y'all don't understand how lucrative crack was, and
But
they saw it as an opportunity to step up. Every immigrant group or every group of Americans has used crime or criminal enterprising to get a foothold. The Irish, okay, the Mexicans. I mean, all of these groups have used that and as a vehicle. I mean, Kennedy got rich from what? Bootlegging.
Moon,
Yeah,
yeah,
prohibition.
bootleg,
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
you're right.
And then did all this stuff to get his son elected.
But you know what, General Doc, let me bring this full circle. When we started Let's Talk Nation was about getting results. But the other thing that we did with Let's Talk Nation is simply this. We didn't go around telling people who to vote for. Point blank, we didn't. What we said is be informed about who you're voting for. Go do your research. And you know what? That's where we begin and that's where we end when we had these conversations. And this is a to me a helpful and healthy conversation because and I'm looking at some of the comments that we've gotten. This is enough to make you go do some of your own research. Whether you agree with us or not, it'll make you think.
But many people will watch this broadcast and say, I don't like what he said. I know that Greg say he a Democrat, but I think he a secret Republican. They'll say things like that. That Dr. Polite crazy anyway. So they'll say those things because that gives them an out instead of investing in understanding and educating themselves about the issues and why things are the way they are and what they could possibly bring to the table as a solution. It's much easier to just disperse this and cast it off as something they can't do anything about. And that apathy as well. Long time ago, I basically talked about learned helplessness, and we're still there. A lot of the situations is because too much of our community feel helpless and hopeless. And so we got to look directly at the people who represent us close to home. When you have those politicos here who can't do anything, they powerless. You see that.
Well, there is something, Brother Jackson. I'm going to come back and I will say this. The Republican Party, this is a prime opportunity to be welcoming, to be inviting of black folk. This is the opportune time to say that there's room underneath this tent. Can't be a missed opportunity.
Why haven't they? As a Republican, why haven't the Republicans reached out to African Americans? I'm sure that they watch the news and they see black men and others who are dissatisfied and feel disenfranchised. Why haven't Republicans made it a priority to recruit them?
Doc, here's what I would say to you. I think that it has been, but it has not been the quantity of outreach that's needed. And Doc, I will say it. I mean, I'm be direct about it. I think that the approach needs to be really looked at because this is a prime opportunity. I think the speak to the black community needs to be a direct conversation about we see your pain. And if you want to have a direct conversation, you talk about economics in the black community. You look at the housing stock in communities and you address that. You look at job issues in that community and you address those issues, but you can't dance around those issues. Hey, one of the issues that 34,000 black mothers took a position on when Governor DeSantis was elected was the fact that they did not want the state to take away their school choice. That was speaking up. I think we got to have more conversation with the community, but we got to have direct conversation, and we can't dance around it.
So let me ask this question: that 34,000 African American females who made that position or took that position, how many of them switched to Republican?
None. I mean, wait, I don't know. Let me take that back. I can't say that I have any empirical data, Greg, but when people go to the ballot box, and we've had this conversation with folks, you go to that box no matter what your party affiliation is, and you make decisions that's going to impact the quality of life of you and your family.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's not really happening.
So why is that not happening?
Yeah, I mean, if this is something that the Republican Party is doing or a Republican governor has done, and 34,000 African American females in the state said we support this, but you had zero or very few African American females to say, you know what, now I can report to the Republican Party. That's that's something that needs to be.
Let, let, let me ask this. Have you ever had a black job, Greg?
No, I had a whole bunch of white jobs.
Hey, Doc, jobs come in colors like that?
And hey, apparently so.
I had
According to Mr. Trump, there are black jobs. The Mexicans are coming and taking the black jobs. See, it's this kind of rhetoric that we hear. And so it gives us pause. It certainly gives me pause. Now, if you say that the ignorant parts out loud like that, what do you say behind the door?
I mean, but listen, Doc, let's be fair. Let's be fair. That's no worse than a white man saying if you. That's not any worse. That's not any worse than saying if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, then you're not black.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm pointing out the fact that this is par for the course repeatedly from that side of the aisle. The DEA slanders. All of us, we probably got about 20 years of college between all of us? Or more? 20, 25 years? We're not DEI. I never got a job because of my color. I got a job because I hustle everybody around me and I delivered time after time, just like y'all did. I know because y'all my friends, and I talk, and I know. You're a top lawyer. You're a business owner. I'm retired now. But when I was a counselor, I was one of the best in every organization I worked for. So we earn our merits. And then think about this. You would be insulted if it was reduced down to just your race. Because you never lived by just your race. Mm-hmm. And this is what we hear. This is what we hear. And I have been accused of that. It's not that I've been there because I'm black. Because I often found myself as a black person that was in management position in many of the places that I worked, and sometimes the only one. but that was never what I led with. You understand? And so we got to understand that the messaging, I'm not saying it's intentional, because I think when you don't know a people, you sometimes just assume. You can't assume that it's all that way. But there are no white jobs and no black jobs. They're just jobs.
Jobs.
Okay, and we got to stop letting people say that. You know, I was watching a clip the other night, and this white guy said, he asked other white guys, why is it your job? You say they took your job, how was that your job? And nobody could provide them a coherent answer, because jobs are not assigned based on race. They should not be. It's based on merit.
Hey, so let me ask this question, because General and Doc, you still have RFK Jr. that's in the race. You still have Cornel West in the race. Before it was projected that Cornel West, I mean, while neither one of them is really polling in any majority, do you think they still have enough to draw any significant numbers away from Harris?
That's a
I
good
think,
question. Yeah.
I think Robert F. Kennedy does. I don't see West being. I think he'll get less than 0.5% in vote nationwide. Really.
Yeah, but half a percent, in this day and age could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, that's true. So he could be a spoiler. I mean, technically, he could be a spoiler, but
But listen, we're talking about this. We haven't even gotten to the Democratic convention yet. We're all assuming, which I'm believing the same thing, that Kamala Harris is going to be the Democratic nominee for president. But we still don't know what offshoot from that is going to come. I mean, there still may be some Democrats that say, listen, when do we start anointing individuals to be the nominee for president in this country? There's a faction of the Democratic Party that we still haven't
yeah, that's true.
are being silenced.
Yeah, that
And that may make the difference of the individuals that are saying, hey, listen, we don't believe in people being anointed for the nominee of our party.
well, again, it's participation politics with Democrats. Always has been. Look at who's the head of the Democratic Party now. What's the guy's name? Jamie something? The black guy.
Hey, but I
Yeah.
don't know who that is, Doc.
Yeah.
But
Let me say this, Rod. Hold on, and then I'll yield the floor. Did y'all see what happened in the village this week?
in the
Yeah, I
what?
mean, I saw that. You talking about the Harris supporters in the villages? How many was that? Like what? Like about 3,000-4,000 people?
Yeah, and that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Then you
over
go to
there.
a Trump rally with 40,000-50,000 people.
But that's huge over there because it's usually fights.
I mean, listen.
I mean, it has. The last time,
Let's see what that crowd is in a month.
okay.
If they're
Well, I'm
doing that
just
in a
saying.
month, then yeah,
Well,
catch me with that in a
well,
month.
before I can tell you now, living over here, they weren't able to do that at all because they would be attacked.
In the
And-
villages,
Yes. Oh man, they off the chain. That man. Listen, we'll talk off the air.
by conservatives.
Man,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
they have fist fights. The last election time, man, they were. I mean, literally fighting in the streets at these rallies and stuff.
Why we don't see that? Why we
You
don't
see
see that on
Papa?
the news?
Why, you know why? You see Papa out there with his golf club swinging, and I mean literally, it gets bad over there. I don't even go during election time. I don't go over into the villages. Why? Because I mean they attack each other, tear up each other's golf carts, and you got 85,000 golf carts over there. So all these people running around all day, they in and out the golf courts and stores and all that stuff, and they day drinkers.
Hey,
So,
bottom
you know,
line,
it's
at the
about
end of the
stuff.
day, we're having a conversation, and that conversation is to the extent that at the end of the day, and Greg, I like the way you framed it, man. we're all Americans, and it's no shame when you see the Hispanic community say what they want, what their demands are to improve their lives and their family lives. It's no shame when white America say what they need, what the quality of life that they want. So why is it problematic? And Greg, you referenced the story about Ice Cube, and you're absolutely correct. But why is it that when we come to the forefront and we say, and Doc, you talked about shootings, violence, we're talking about economic development and things of nature. Why is it either somewhat shameful or just totally ignored when we come to the table and have those conversations?
Because nobody respects our vote. I mean, no one respect that. They know that no matter what happens, whether they come into our community with the solution or not, they're still going to get the African American vote. So why would they make the extra effort to do anything in these communities?
Well, I do believe, and I'm gonna just say this, I do believe this time in particular are some troubling times. I see one of the comments that came in, and the person was making a case. I'm not putting them on the spot, but one sentence stuck out to me in particular. After they made their case, they're referencing to us, men, man up and help the persons whose neck is on the line. And when you say that, when you say help the persons whose neck is on the line, I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about communities and families that have continued to suffer some injustice, whether it's economic development or whether it's looking for a job, whether it's violence. So when you talk about man up for the persons whose neck is on the line, I know those people. And unless we have these conversations and be clear and blunt about these conversations, and you know what? With what the person responded to, I respect it, welcome that kind of stuff. But I think there's a place and space for us to have these conversations about why isn't the black community demanding to be heard, and not only be heard, but to see some results from their requests.
Well, because anytime we do demand anything, we're told that we're wrong. I mean, listen, I can sit up and say, hey, listen, I don't think we should vote for Joe Biden because he hasn't done anything to help black people. And what they're going to tell me, oh, you're not black, you're a Republican. You're shunned. So even when black Americans say something, they're ostracized, which is ridiculous.
Well, I've watched my good friend right there, Rod Love, reach out time and time again and help. Again, it's living, breathing examples around us where it says, men, man up and help those whose neck is on the line. When you see those people and you go to them and help, and they reject your help, what do? Do you keep helping them?
But Doc, I'm gonna tell you something. There's an individual that's on this broadcast with us that it took him about a year to get through to me on this one topic, which I finally understood what he was saying to me. And I don't know if Attorney Greg Jackson got this from his father, because it's some hell of a wisdom. But he continued to say, Brother Love, it's a sad frog that won't croak over its own pond. Well, at the end of the day, when those individuals in the community, Doc, that me and Greg and yourself, we've worked with them in the past, but when they have comments about what we're not doing, man, we could put up the results of what we have done.
Yes.
In comparison to asking, where's your proof in the pudding?
Exactly. And it all comes back to, again, those who need it most often are the most resistant to help and change. They want to do it their way.
You're right.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna continue to do things the way that I do. It's nobody's business what we do in the community and what we do for people. If they know, it's because we work with them and they deserve to know. And if they don't know, it's because they don't deserve to know. For the people who don't know what we do in the community, shame on you. Figure it out for yourself.
Hey,
That's
Doc,
all I got to say. 'Cause
nobody
it ain't
does it like the
it's not like it
general.
ain't nothing to it now. Come on now.
He got time today.
Hey, he got time today. Nobody does it like the general. But you know
Listen.
what? I love how we're ending it on a note, because at the end of the day, and Doc, you say this as well, if you're so concerned about what we're doing in the community, you go do something.
Yep.
Care less about what we do, and you go do something, but also document what you do so you have a proof, not of concept, but proof of what you're doing, getting some results.
Yeah, because giving to people without results, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Hey, Brother Jackson, I know you were selling the case today, so please give us another minute and a half of your thoughts.
Oh man, listen, like I told y'all, man, I am so so put off by the Democratic Party right now. I'm probably going to be finding me a different party. It ain't gonna be the Republican Party for right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But what's taking place with the Democratic Party is ridiculous. I think that as a Democrat, I get sick and tired of people coming and telling me who I have to vote for because of the color of their skin or because of who their gender is. And when I challenge them about what their accomplishments are, then I'm ostracized. I mean, listen, I got thick skin. I can take it. I can handle it. But at some point in time, we have to be able to stand up and say, maybe this just ain't the place for me.
Hey, you're right. Hey, Doc Polite, the executive producer of Let's Talk Nation and many other shows on the Let's
Oh,
Talk
wait,
Nation.
hold on, wait. We got to show y'all this real quick. I got to show y'all this real quick. How much time I got, Doc?
You got 30 seconds. Oh, look at Doc. Do you see
Look
that?
at this. Look at this.
Do you see that, Doc? Hey, Doc, I see how
Hey,
you're
listen.
looking at him, brother.
Listen. Hey, listen. And it's not even that I'm a vote. We have choices. That's all I'm trying to point out. We got choices. Don't think that you got to do Trump, you got to do Harris. We have choices out there.
And
We got
see,
choices, make an
and-
informed decision. Hey, Doc Polite, Greg
Exactly.
Jackson, brothers. Hey, you know I love you. Y'all don't have to go home.
I ain't got to go nowhere. Where we got to go?
Hey, goodbye. Hey, Greg Jackson. See how somebody can mess up a perfect exit? Hey, I love you, brothers. We'll see y'all next week on Let's Talk Nation. Tune in, join the conversation. Hey, we
All right, man.
appreciate you.
All right. Peace out.